Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Business Management Unit 2. We're talking about business organizations. This video you could essentially call, I guess, Unit 2.1. We're going to be talking about types of ownership in this video. This is a part one because there will be a part two as well. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So our objectives for this particular lesson are to explain the types of business ownership, to list the most common forms of business ownership. Particularly, we're going to be talking about defining sole proprietorship, partnership, corporations, and LLCs in this lesson. And of course, to describe the pros and cons of each form of business. So let's start with these three, the proprietorship, the partnership, and the corporation. So a sole proprietorship is a business that is owned by one person. In this type of business, the owner is in charge of all day-to-day aspects of the business. In a partnership, two or more people operating a business, they operate it as co-owners who share all the profits. And partnerships usually create a legal agreement on splitting up the day-to-day aspects of running the business. And then in a corporation, there are many owners, but when the owners change, the company does not dissolve. The owners are typically known as shareholders, and they elect a board of people, board of directors, to make the company policies, decisions, and etc. So let's take a look at, we're going to start taking a look at each one of these individually. Starting with sole proprietorship. So the advantages of a sole proprietorship include getting to work by yourself. You don't have to ask anyone for anyone else's opinion. And you get to keep all the profit. And the person who owns the business, you can own it for any duration of time and sell it whenever you want to. Your income is taxed as if you were personal income, and you can discontinue your business really whenever you want. Now, some disadvantages though to a sole proprietorship include that the hard decisions they all fall on you, and you are responsible for all the debts, the liabilities that are sustained by the business. Now, of course, a liability is being legally responsible for something. And sometimes it can be hard to get high quality employees when you're in a sole proprietorship. All right, so let's talk about a partnership. Let's move on to that. And some of the advantages of a partnership is that you have two people working instead of just one. And so you get abilities and skills that comes from both sides. Partnerships are easy to establish, although you want to make sure that you have a legal agreement between your partnerships. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They are easy to start up, and they have more than one person to lean on when it comes to making hard decisions on management. They are taxed the same as a sole proprietor. Right, so I mentioned that legal document. So when you're in a partnership, so with a partnership, most people think that everything will go smoothly at the beginning of starting up a business. However, breakups, buyouts, new partners, failed businesses, etc., they do happen. So it is important to create a legal document that states guidelines really on the following information. They should talk about each partner's rights and responsibilities, the amount of capital each partner is investing in the business, the distribution of profits, what happens if a partner joins or leaves the business, and how the assets are divided if the business is discontinued. Things have a way of changing and people forgetting over time, so it's essential that there be a signed document that everyone in the partnership abides by. Now, some disadvantages to partnerships. You have to split the income, and that there is a lot you need to figure out before beginning a partnership. Again, take a look at what I was just talking about. You are responsible for you and your partner's debt. Next, let's move on to corporations. Now, the advantages of corporations include that they are easier to start up the business when there are many owners and many different assets that are brought in. You can sell shares of stock, which bring in capital, and corporations don't usually dissolve, and the owners are not responsible for the business's debts. Now, some disadvantages, though, to a corporation is that it takes a lot of time, money, and people to start a corporation. And many employees in a corporation means that you have a lot of overhead to pay. Corporations are taxed twice a year and they have to pay a stock tax. And the government keeps very close eye on these corporations. Now let's talk about something called an LLC. This is a limited liability company. Now, this type of business ownership is where there can be single owners or multiple owners, like a sole proprietorship or a partnership, but you have the option to be taxed like a corporation. Most business owners choose this. Choose this type of business because in this way the owners can protect their personal assets like their car, their house, their money, etc. All right, so that really covers our business management unit two, business organizations. In this unit, we're talking about types of ownership, and we talked about the explaining the types of business ownership. We listed the most common forms of business associations, particularly sole proprietorship, partnership, corporations, and LLCs. And we also talked about the pros and cons of each form of business.